Winnipeg, Minnesota, the third and final game on the Tuesday slate. 55-56. We've got Minnesota minus 140, minus 145. Total 5.5, shaded to the over. Really, it's as simple as this with the Winnipeg Jets. You give me Connor Hellebuyck in net tonight, I'll probably make a case for Winnipeg. If I don't have Connor Hellebuyck in net, no, I don't make a case for Winnipeg. I mean, it really has been that sharp with this Jets team in terms of the difference in their play and the results with Hellebuyck and Mason in net. I mean, Hellebuyck has clearly been a guy that they found more confidence in. I don't know what it is with Hellebuyck. They also have played better defensively in front of Hellebuyck than they have it with Mason at any point this season, and that's been a big part of it too. Now, has Mason not been good? Of course not, but it seems that Winnipeg's played with more structure and just played better for the most part in front of Connor Hellebuyck than they have in front of Steve Mason this year. So that's a big factor when it comes to betting these Jets games for me. I want to know, I have to know, not only I want to know, I have to know who's in net before I get involved from a betting perspective right now with the Winnipeg Jets, who after a tough start, they're 5-3-2. They've actually got more wins than Minnesota. Minnesota is a team that we've had some struggles. They have played better lately, though. After a tough start to the season, Minnesota 5-3 in their last 8 games, so they have played a little bit better. They're coming off a huge win against Pittsburgh, absolutely drubbing the Pittsburgh. 2-1. That was Winnipeg drubbed. They both played Pittsburgh. Yeah, Winnipeg drubbed them 7-1. Minnesota beat Pittsburgh, but only 2-1. That's the kind of game you'd expect Minnesota to win. Tough. Grind it out, and they did that. So both of these teams coming off wins against Pittsburgh. Only one of these teams, though, can win this game tonight. For me, I'll make a case at the underdog price for the Jets, so long as we see a Connor Hellebuyck sighting in net. And again, Minnesota is one of those teams that laying a price with them is a little bit tricky for me. Although, again, they're playing better hockey, both of these teams, off beating Pittsburgh. Dana, what are you looking at with the Jets and Wild? Any opinion at all on this game here?
Yeah, another goaltender has been confirmed this morning, but certainly like you, it's a major part of what side I'm going on. I do expect Devin Dubnyk to be in goal, so I mean that's something that I can almost bank on. But I mean, you said it. I mean, look, the Winnipeg Jets just came off a 7-1 victory against Pittsburgh. They're probably feeling pretty good about themselves. But if I'm the Minnesota Wild, I'm feeling pretty good about myself too. And yeah, they only beat them 2-1. But a win is a win. And on top of that, it was the first time this season that they had won back-to-back games. So I think winning back-to-back zeroes out a team that beat Pittsburgh by 6 goals. And, I mean, look, if I'm Winnipeg, obviously I feel good about it, but Pittsburgh, let's be honest, has showed some cracks. So I expect the public to overreact to that victory. Of course, with Winnipeg being such an underdog, I mean, obviously that makes it more attractive as well. This is a revenge spot, whatever that means, as Winnipeg did beat Minnesota 4-3 on the 20th. So take that for what it is. But I know that Paul Maurice is pretty giddy with their recent defensive play. I know he's talked about it in various interviews about how happy he is with the way that the Jets are coming around defensively. But the honest assessment of where they are right now is they're still one of the worst defensive teams in the league. You're betting on a team that features a Jacob Trouba, a guy that desperately last year wanted out of Winnipeg, didn't want to play on one side, then he wanted out. He's matched up with Josh Morrissey. So these are two guys with 20 combined games that are on -6, and they only have 2 goals between them. And that's your best pairing. That's your first pairing. And you have probably Dustin Byfuglien's probably their best defenseman. Tobias Enstrom is, matched up with him, and I don't think much of him either. So I don't know how you could go into this matchup thinking that Winnipeg is A, good defensively, and B, good in net. So how can you really bet a team like that when you know that they're going to have to match up against Zucker? I'm not sure if Zucker's back after having a baby, but I assume that he is, and didn't have the baby himself. His wife did, his wife Carly. But congratulations to him. He should be inspired now. He has another mouth to feed. So Zucker and Koivu and Granlund, to me, equal a better option than betting on the Winnipeg Jets defensively. The home team in this series won 5 out of the last 7, whatever that means. But Minnesota is going to be the side for me here, and because I don't trust Winnipeg on a game-by-game basis defensively, and I never really know what I'm going to get out of Minnesota. But we do see some 5.5s in this game now, which is a lot more attractive to me than the 6s that I saw last night. So I do like Minnesota in this, and I do like the over in this at over 5.5 minus $1.10.
All right, over 5.5, saying the Winnipeg Jets. Yeah, on paper, good defensive numbers, but still giving up a lot of shots. I mean, you look at them; they've given up on the last 3 games, Pittsburgh twice and Columbus, they've given up 2 goals or less, but they've given up 36, 37, 32 shots. They've certainly given up looks at the net, but Hellebuck's been great, 5-1, 2.05 goals against average, and yet I still hear Paul Maurice yesterday say there's a chance that Mason might get a look again, and I'm thinking, what are you thinking? I mean, they're 0-4 with Mason in net, and, they've got good vibes going with Hellebuck, and I don't think you shake up the apple cart here. You don't. You stick with what's working, and that's been Connor Hellebuck. So that's why, in terms of me, I'm looking opposite Dana only if we get Connor Hellebuck confirmation in net. I don't want Mason, that's for sure. And it's nothing against Mason. When he's on his game, he can be good, but he's not been on his game, and the team hasn't played quite as well in front of him as they have with Hellebuck. So, again, that's something I'm going to be looking at, the goalie situation. Sometimes there's some games it doesn't really impact my handicap as much, or my thought process, or my leans. In this game, it absolutely does. Andrew, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, well, I'm just going to look back. I think it's kind of unique that these two teams, they played the exact same team in their last game, the Pittsburgh Penguins, like you guys mentioned. And, Dana, like you said, a win is a win. I mean, 2 points are 2 points, whether you win 2-1 or you win 7-1. But, I mean, I think the elephant in the room is we can't all lie about the difference in momentum and the difference in the way your team is feeling after the game. Like you said, you're feeling good as a back-to-back winner team. With Minnesota, I think offensively they've shown some signs of life this year, but ultimately what that game showed me, even against the backup goalie with Matt Murray not starting in the net for the Penguins, it just showed me the star power, the firepower this Winnipeg Jets team does have. And like you said, I believe that they are overreacting. I think everyone's going to pound Winnipeg as underdogs a little bit, just overreacting to how much they've scored. But I do like Winnipeg because – I do like Minnesota. They've gotten better defensively, and they can shut down teams. But I think if you just look at this matchup, guys, Winnipeg is just too powerful of a team. Of course, I am waiting to see if Hellebuck is in nets. Like we've been saying, I'm not really a fan of Mason, but just looking at this matchup, guys, I'm on Winnipeg and the over. I think a first period play on the over would be a great start. For this game, I think both these teams are well rested. Minnesota hasn't had a game since Saturday night. Winnipeg didn't play since Sunday, and I think both these teams have what are capable of putting up big numbers. And even the Minnesota Wild, they're known to be that low-scoring game kind of style team, but they won 2-1 against Pittsburgh. I think they come out and put a couple goals in the back of the net tonight. So my stronger lean is on the over, but I also lean Winnipeg.
All right, so stronger on the over and a lean to Winnipeg for Andrew. And make sure you get the best number. If you're looking over with Dana and Andrew, they're on the over. Make sure you get the 5.5. There's some -15s, -120s out there on 5.5. A couple shops showing 6. So make sure you get 5.5. SBRodds.com. Use it. It's live odds. It's free. This isn't Sports Options. This isn't Sports Insights or any other service where you got to pay money and shell out money to get it. To get live odds and the up to the minute odds. No, SBRodds.com gives it to you. It's all there for free so that you can get the best number and the best price at all instances. And I'm telling you what, if you're the Minnesota Wild coming into this game and you're seeing that your 2 players tied for the team lead in points are Jared Spurgeon and Chris Stewart, you got to start to reevaluate what you're doing offensively and see what you can do to change things up, because that's, to be honest, not good at all. That's kind of embarrassing, really, that Chris Stewart and Jared Spurgeon are tied, 8 points leading the team. We need some of these other guys to get going here for this Minnesota team. Where's Charlie Coyle? I mean, 2 points, really? 2 points for Charlie Coyle? so far this season. Not good at all. You've got Ennis. Foligno's been okay, but you need some of these other guys to step up. We know they miss Parise. Obviously, it's a huge injury, but it's got to be offense by committee. And, you can't just rely on Jared Spurgeon to be one of your offensive juggernauts, or Chris Stewart for that matter. Alex, what are you looking at with your nearby local Minnesota Wild tonight?
Well, I'm on board with everybody else tonight, really. I'm looking at the over. You look at these two teams and how, they did big division rivals, and they really get the best out of each other. And that's why I think we've seen the over has gone over 6 of the last 7 matchups and 7 of the last 10 when these two hook up. So both teams, when they play other clubs, they know how to tighten things up defensively and really lock things down. But I think when they play each other, like I said, it's usually an important game, being so close in proximity and usually close in the standings division wise at times. So I think we're going to see some goals here from both teams. Both teams know how to score some dirty goals, especially Winnipeg. They're a team that can really bang and get physical. Like you said, you got guys like Chris Stewart who are the ones really scoring for the Wild right now. So even if it's the same crew as of now that's been scoring lately, we'll still see some decent offense. But if we can see some of those other guys, like say Coyle and company, wake up, I have no problem here backing the over. And as Andrew said as well, the first period over, I think we could see at least maybe 2 or 3 goals early in this game. The Wild doing well in this homestand. They've won back-to-back. So against some. So I think we're going to see some goals here. I like the over first period, and I like the over full game tonight.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.